it's an amazing piece. It still has all of its original paint on it, which we're in the process of restoring. And what's really amazing is right here, it's very hard to see, but you'll see it once we're all completed with the restoration. It says Mitchell, Lewis, and Savin, this wagon was sold by that company in Portland, Oregon in the late 1890s. You can kind of see some of the pinstriping here, and you can see this very light faded blue. I took the tailgate, and just to show you some comparison, this is what this wagon's going to basically look like. You can see quite the significant difference. Once we have taken it down, removed any of the deterioration from it, and then re-oiled it with a linseed oil turpentine combination. But you can see how much darker it becomes, and you can see where the pinstriping, the original pinstriping from 1890, jumps out at you. This particular one, this brake mechanism right here, was missing some pins, so we had to reposition some of this metal down here and then modify and actually make our own pin. And you can see that I've made a pin here to secure that hardware on that brake hardware onto the wagon. It's called the toe board, and you can see on this old wagon that this toe board is in really rough shape. It's very soft, it's been bug infested, and it has some splits in it. This is the old tailgate, and you can see all the rot on this tailgate. This piece of wood will accommodate the size of this, so what we will do is we will take off these boards and we'll actually cut a new toe board out of this old tailgate to salvage as much of the original wagon as possible. This is the original pole for this wagon, which is actually what was hooked up to the horses that pull it. But you can see right here that on the end of these poles there's what they call a pole tip, and you can see how bad this one was. I happen to have an extra pole tip, so this will eventually be cleaned up and actually put back onto this pole, which will make it look original. Before we do any sort of oiling of any of the wood or whatever, is every piece of metal on here will be taken down using a tool similar to this. This is an air hose, and you can kind of get a feel for what we're going to do with every piece of metal. And we'll take that down to a smooth surface, and then once we re-oil this, that rust will stay away. You can kind of see through on the spokes here some of the pinstriping that was on here, and believe it or not, this hub right here is orange. I'm just taking a knife here, but watch this. See the orange paint coming through? I'm scraping this very, very lightly, and it's showing this orange paint, and I'll do that all the way up through the hub and even the hub band here, and you'll see orange starting to come through. This wheel has already been gone over with a very fine steel wool and turpentine, and you can see how dull it is. Watch what happens when we put the linseed oil and turpentine combination on there. See that? This is what brings the color all the way back, and look at the spokes even. Look at how nice that ends up being. And this is going to stay that orange color now, so it brings back, this is the original color. That paint was put on there in 1892. You can see a lot of the grease that was caked on here. Get a feel for the kind of stuff we're taking off. This is just dried grease, probably 100 years old, that was caked inside of here. We've taken off all of the wheels and actually re-greased them so that the wagon will roll properly. But you can see how the color has just pulled through. I don't know if you recall the turquoise blue, but now it's almost a greenish color, whatever. We've gone through the whole wagon, and even the bed. You can see how beautiful the bed of the wagon is.